Are you ready to talk about Taylor Swift?
I'm ready to talk about Taylor Swift. Are you ready to talk about Taylor Swift?
I'm so ready to. All I talk about is Taylor Swift.
I am so ready to hear everything about this album that you love, that you hate, that you want to just share.
Yes.
Just overall thoughts.
Overall,
Yeah.
this is by far the best re-recording.
100%.
And I will say, a lot of people are upset about a lot of the things on the album.
Sure.
Not acoustically, like instrumentally, the production of almost every song.
So much better.
Yes, it's slightly changed. I think it's better completely. Like this album, it sounds more magical and like just
Whimsical
more intense. Yes. Like whatever, like the little changes that she made. And I understand that people kind of, I mean, that's like the joke with the re-recordings. Everyone's like, you're just listening to the same exact album. But every time, I mean, her voice is always so much more mature. Like you can hear that difference. But a lot of time in the background, like it does sound almost identical. This album, she really said, no, whatever I didn't perfect the first time, I'm really going to go out of my way to perfect it. And I loved, like there was not a single production that was changed that I was upset about. Like everything was just like, wow, this got even better.
It was when I was listening to these songs, like hearing her hit like the notes that she hit originally, but that she's hitting as a 32-year-old woman, like it was so much more satisfying and so much more fluid in her voice. Like you can tell how much better she has gotten over the last 13 years, which is a long time to get better at something, but still, it was just gorgeous. And I cried 3 different times listening to this album. And I know I said when we were talking about it originally that I was going to start at the beginning and listen to it to the end, but I went against my word and I started with the vault tracks.
Yep.
Because it was also midnight and I was like, I want to listen to this album in full tonight, which I know I'm not going to be done by the time like 2 a.m. rolls around. And as you know, I'm now a 27-year-old woman. I get tired real easy and I need to go to bed. Like I was like, but I made it through the whole album, but I was like, you know what? I want to be alert and ready and listen to these songs. And I sat there and I pulled up the lyrics and I listened to it and I watched the lyrics. Oh, like when I was listening through those new songs, it's one thing. But then going back and I went back to the beginning and I listened to mine and I heard that and I like my heart grew just like 3 sizes and I was like, oh my God. Everything is so beautiful. Everything is wonderful. And I was just so happy.
It was so amazing. But the real question that I know we're both waiting to ask each other, the Better Than Revenge lyric change. So for those who may be listening that aren't full Swifties, if you've made it this far,
yes,
Taylor Swift originally released Speak Now, the stolen version, 13 years ago.
Correct.
On that album, there is a song called Better Than Revenge that you listen to it and the feminism just leaves your body. It just goes because it's a masterpiece. And in the original song, in the chorus, there was a line that said, she's not a saint and she's not what you think. Oh,
she's an actress.
She's an actress. She's better known for the things that she does on the mattress, which, I mean, let's be blunt. It has a little bit of slut shaming. We all knew it. It's okay. It happens sometimes. But Taylor Swift throughout her career has like made it a point, and like in her Miss Americana documentary, she like made a comment about like how she's been the face of slut shaming her whole, like everyone has done it to her whole life. And I think she wrote that album when she was 19. And I think as she grew up, the lyric just didn't sit right with her because she was like, I was a kid. I was not a kid, but I was a teenager, very young adult.
Right.
I went through something. I was angsty. I made this lyric, and she's made a lot of comments about changing it, but we didn't actually know if it was going to happen. And in the re-recording, she did change the lyric to, he was a moth to the flame. She was holding the matches.
Yes.
And I'm, you know what? When I heard she changed the lyric, I felt hurt. I felt a little betrayed. I was very upset But then I listened to it and I was like, this really, like, it, the way that she changed it, it flows the exact same way. It hits the same way. And as long, like, if it really was making her uncomfortable, I just hope she didn't do it like for us. Like, I hope she did it because she was uncomfortable.
Right.
But overall, the more I've listened to it, the more I've gotten used to it. And I really don't care anymore. But I want your thoughts.
I feel similar. When I first heard it, I paused it and I went back because I was like, wait a second, that wasn't right. And obviously went through it and I was like, I am upset. Like, immediate response, I am upset because while we know slut shaming and everything, not great, that line went so hard.
It went so hard.
It went so hard.
And it like raised me. Like it was a part of my childhood.
Right. And I was just like, oh man. And like now that I'm like you're saying, like I'm getting used to it, but I feel like it's almost like I will forgive, but I will not forget.
I also just want her to like acknowledge it. Like just be like, hey, I wrote this lyric when I was 19. I grew up and I just didn't feel right about it. So I had to change it. And I will say the lyrics, it's beautiful. It's like a folklore line in the middle of a angsty speak now.
And like it works. Like it doesn't sound out of place. Like that's the thing. It's like if you didn't know.
Yes. It literally, and like matches, mattress, like when you're singing it in the tone, it really, it get like I was singing it in my car, screaming it, and I was like, okay, it has the same vibe.
Yes.
But it's just, I'm not good with change. So
it doesn't scratch the itch.
It doesn't because I know slut shaming is so wrong. But
it just went so hard. I can't.
It felt right when we were screaming that lyric. And I feel like most of us were unified. It's also like all of our members of the LGBTQ community begging her to put back the line from Taylor Swift, her debut album.
Picture to Burn.
Yes. She had a lyric mentioning that a boy broke up with her and she was going to tell everyone that he was gay, which like, as you should. Like
and at the time, think about debut came out. Like, everybody was
5,
using gay
6, yeah,
as a slur.
Yes.
Like, so like at the time you were like, yeah, whatever. And also it was country,
Yeah, no, it was like that's when. Yes, that is when like before everyone like they would just refer. It wasn't great. So she just changed that like randomly on her own, like didn't tell anyone, like just literally you can't get access to that version of the song anymore unless you have one of the original DVDs that it was printed on. So like she has a history of growing up being like, oh, I shouldn't have written that lyric. But Taylor, we just want you to know, as a female, I'm okay with the slut shaming every once in a while. And my best friend Robbie, who is gay, is also okay with you calling your cheating boyfriend gay. So we'll see what happens. But the fact that she changed better than revenge, I don't think she's going to change and go back.
There's no way. But a girl could dream.
A girl can dream. Yes. And you know what? Every once in a while, I will just scream the old version just for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just for.
After 13 years of singing that song that way, it's going to take us a hot second to get into the moth and the matches. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take a second.
But no, overall, there were some people who were like really mad about the lyric change. There were some people who were like trying to cancel merch orders because they were so upset she changed it.
All right, calm down.
Yeah, like it's really not. It hurts, but it's really not that big a deal.
It's not that serious.
Overall, the album is legit perfection.
Yeah.
So,
and I was telling you that. So Jordyn mentioned on the pod a couple weeks ago, I think, that Champagne Problems is like her song, and like that song when it came out was like hardcore Jordyn song, and it was written for her. And I told Jordyn that was for me on this album is Taylor's version of Never Grow Up, because I am currently going through everything that she's talking about in that song. I am moving out of my house. I just turned 27 years old. I'm getting married, like all of this stuff. And I actually jumped. I listened to like the first 3 songs and I went, I need to listen to Never Grow Up because I need to get it out of my system. And so I put it on and immediately just like welled up. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make it through this. And when I got to the bridge of that song, I was literally like, and like Michael's sitting he was playing video games. It's like 1:30 in the morning at this point. He turns around, he looks at me and he's like, oh my God, are you okay? And I was like, I'm fine. I'm fine. And he was like, are you listening to Taylor Swift right now? And I was like, I am. Just leave it. I need to have a moment. I have to have this moment to myself because the lines are so specific that I literally like the line that she says, take pictures in your mind of your childhood room, as I'm literally disassembling my room right now. And then when she says, memorize what it sounded like when your dad gets home, is so hard for me to listen to. So hard. Like it is, I was like, it's so real. And it's like too real right now.
Yeah.
So we've been listening to this album. I told Jordyn that my dad put it on for me yesterday when I walked into the house for my birthday, and I was like so happy. And he put it on shuffle. But when it came on, I was like, we can't listen to this. I have to skip it right now. So maybe like in like a year or two, I'll be able to listen to it again. But at this point in time, I'm pretty sure I'm never going to be able to listen to Never Grow Up unless I'm in the mood to cry.
Yeah, no, Innocent.
It's not a casual listen for me.
No, Innocent, Never Grow Up, and Long Live, I cannot listen to without getting choked up. Like, I literally can't. And I had, the night the album came out, I had Robbie, who I literally just talked about him 4 seconds ago. He came over. Robbie's younger sister is best friends with my younger sister. So we always just hang out, the 4 of us. So it was the 4 of us over listening to the album, and we went through, we did the same thing. We started at the vault tracks, listened to all the vault tracks, and then we went to Better Than Revenge just to hear it.
Yeah.
And then we went back up and listened straight through. And I literally told them, I was like, I love you all so much. I want to listen to Never Grow Up for the first time when I'm alone. Like, I was like, I can't listen to it around you because I'm like not gonna be well.
Yeah.
And we also we skipped Long Live and went to like Hours and Superman, and then ended the night on Long Live because I'm like, I told you, I'm getting a tattoo for Long Live. Like that is me and my sister, who's my best friend in the entire world. Like that's like our song. So it was very emotional because like that album, I don't know, it just came out when I was so young. It was like such a huge part of my life. And it's like, no, I'm listening to it again for the first time as an adult.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird thing. It's magical, but it's weird.
And I was thinking about it because I was like trying to remember like where I was at in my life when this album originally came out. And I was going into high school. I was a freshman in high school. And like, that's a big deal. Like to hear like songs like Never Grow Up when you're entering high school. So I was like, I mean, ever since that song came out, I've had a hard time listening to it. It's a lot. It's a lot. But like, I was like, wow, when this came out, I was going into high school, and now I am planning a wedding and moving out of my house. And like, that's what struck the chord with me. And that I cried during that. I cried during Long Live. And then I cried during Timeless.